Do y'all remember this Hubble telescope image of the kingdom of heaven that supposedly NASA was hiding from us? Let me start this off with I would never harm myself and I'm perfectly happy. Wait till you see what I found, because I proved it, and then after I proved it, they started trying to hide it from me actively as I was doing it. To be honest, I kind of feel like I'm being watched because things were changing right in front of my face. But first, let me jog your memory and I'll be right back. Why am I just now finding out that in 1994 they found the kingdom of heaven in the waters above? Before y'all try to debunk, watch the whole video, it gets deep. First off, this is a real image that was observed with the Hubble telescope, and it was top secret, and it was 1994. And NASA refused to acknowledge the existence of this photo. Why? Because NASA's to cover up God. The book of Isaiah literally tells us that God himself sits above the firmament and watches below as crickets. They tried to claim it was satire, but you can look it up for yourself. They claim it's quadrillion miles away. We know that's not true, but that's not the only thing they found in space. What does this look like to you? In what they call a galaxy, they literally found a portrait, an image of Jesus Christ on the cross. The Bible tells us Jesus was slain since the foundation of the world. Since the creation of the world, he was slain. And here's a wonder right in our skies. Wait till you see how I'm going to prove this. Before that, they will say, the kingdom of heaven is inside you. Do you think there's not a physical manifestation of the kingdom of heaven? Look at the angels who are spiritual and interdimensional, but in the firmament. This telescope right here belongs to the Vatican. That's right, the Vatican. The same Vatican that have all the books of mankind in their secret library, as well as physical evidence and keys of Jesus Christ himself. So why they have one of the world's strongest telescopes? Because they know, and they are observing the kingdom of heaven, his angels, and so much more. And that is why the Vatican, as well as NASA, is obsessed with the waters above the firmament. And yes, wherever the name originated, the Vatican calls this telescope Lucifer. And NASA's job is to make sure you don't know that the kingdom of heaven is real, that Jesus is real, and that there's a firmament above us. And God's wonders will forever be seen until he returns, and maybe even after. Now that you remember, this is so freaking crazy. So what happened was, first I reverse searched it and AI gave me a summary. By the way, no matter how big I blow up the image, you still can't read it, but it knows everything it said. And with it being so blurry, no human eye could read it. It cannot even be enhanced by AI. It was able to have abode and dwelling of the earth. It knows the dating. It even knows the website link. Little did I know I should have screen recorded myself doing all this stuff because it changed almost immediately. So I copied the link and it went straight to their page, then downloaded something, then turned off. I have no reason to lie to y'all, and then I tried to screen record it. Keep in mind, I did it twice and it worked both times, and then when I started screen recording, it said site cannot be reached. Now remember, this right here was the image that I reverse searched. It's so blurry you cannot even make out the lettering, but it knew exactly that HubbleSite.org was a legitimate website. And it went so far but to give me this link which you saw in the old screenshot. Maybe I'll let you try it. Here's where it gets even crazier. So I went to a Chinese website and I translated it to English. It had a story about a Dr. Mason working with NASA in 1994 and 1993. The picture was allegedly from December 26, 1994. And what would you know? There was a Dr. Mason that was working with the Hubble telescope with NASA in December of 1994, looking at storms in Saturn and in primeval galaxies. What are the odds? Dr. Mason said the city was undoubtedly heaven because as far as we know, human life could not exist in an airless space. That's it, this is the proof we've been waiting for. Dr. Mason, a believer in God, excitedly declared. I mean, what are the odds? I reverse searched this. You can't see any of this stuff, especially not this link, but it works and it brings me there and starts downloading stuff to my phone and will not even show me what it downloaded. And then all of a sudden I can't do it no more. I knew this was real when I first saw it. And it gets even crazier. After I reverse searched it and got a link for it out of nowhere and went there and came back to do it again while screen recording, it changed its whole narrative. It would either not show me a link or it would just straight up tell me that it was now a hoax. There is a way I can still track it down even if it's been deleted, and I will get it. They are hiding God like they have always done. I find it extremely odd we have this anonymous blob of magma moving towards New York, also an earthquake we just had in New York, and then also some weather models showing a giant hurricane hitting New York, all at the same time. But wait, let's back up. Wait till you see what I found. Think in terms of energy and frequency. They say this massive, mysterious hot blob beneath eastern US, Appalachia, all those places, is going towards New York, puzzling the scientists. So what do we know about Appalachia and the pathway to New York? Well, that's where Helene hit. Not just hit, but that's where Helene went over and hovered over for hours upon hours upon hours. I find it fascinating that heat can attract things like hurricanes. Back up again. Do I think there's magma moving to New York? No. Don't let the beginning of a quiet hurricane season fool you. I think they're inherently showing us the future. I mean, what would a magnetic anomaly be causing while in the Earth? Of course, too far out, but GFS is calling for a Category 4 to slam into the Carolinas, just about a week away. And again, not a forecast, but days apart. As I showed you a few days ago, I think it's odd it's showing all of these pressure systems moving. But so far, the ones with the greatest chance seem to be New York, followed after the Carolinas. Now look, make of it what you will. It's all I was wearing the same hoodie this day too. 1 week before the Great Flood of Texas, I made this video basically showing with statistics, with maps, with anomalies that we're gonna have a great hurricane, a very bad hurricane this season. Again, I made this video 1 week before the Great Flood of Texas, which was basically a land hurricane that, again, of course, did not move. So I am 1000% certain that we will see an out the ordinary hurricane this year, and it may be more than one. And now we have these earthquakes going off in New York and this weird magnetic blob of lava moving. Not to mention one of the 10th largest earthquakes to ever go off, and in the first time ever a volcano blowing in Russia. And now we have the GFS, 2 different models, 2 different times showing crazy activity like we've never even seen before. Not to mention all the animals and their odd habits I've been showing you. The blob of lava moving slowly up to New York. Scapegoat. The goat that's going to explain the disasters that are coming. Of course, I will keep you all updated. There are evacuations happening all over the country. Why haven't you heard about it? I mean, really, why are they suspecting such terrible wildfires in August? Of course, unrelated to the fires happening right now. Even crazier, did you hear how the Idaho fire started? We got a lot to go over. It literally started because a Pentagon bomb disposal gone wrong. This fire is already around 30,000 acres and growing quickly, and the Air Force are basically told to detonate a non-detonated explosive. Verbatim, I'm not making it up, they're saying it themselves. And have y'all seen the Oregon fire or the California fire? Of course, the Canyon fire, everywhere. And then again, I show you this map for the second time, completely unrelated. They're saying that this fire for August, the outlook map, looks very bad for the West Coast. So I wonder why they're expecting so much more fire even now that it's cooling down a little bit. I wonder how they're getting started in the first place. Speaking of fire and heat, we have this volcano, I'll just say crash for short because I cannot pronounce that, happening in Russia again, the first time ever, and it's shooting soot and all this stuff 75 kilometers from the volcano. And while we wonder why this is happening, well, remember that mega earthquake, like, the 7th or 8th strongest one in history? That map shows you just how close it was. And yes, the same earthquake that caused hundreds of other earthquakes, that also caused a tsunami, that also moved around, destroyed a bunch of naval stuff and nuclear stuff of the Russians. By the way, 1,000 times unrelated, not relevant at all. Check out this declassified strike map that we got from Russia on where they would attack if something was to go down. Unrelated, but we'll get into the conflict later. Something incredibly strange is going on between animals dying and the Schumann frequency continuing to do things it's never done, and even recording patterns of demons on the screen and constant blackouts. I really don't even know where to start with this video. I guess we'll start with the point that animals are washing up on shores all around the earth ever since the tsunami. I'm having to block out what's behind my head, but major earthquakes are continuing to hit the earth. Storms, quite literally looking like they were taken out of a movie, keep hitting the earth with very strange colors, almost like frequency. And it's not just giant whales and massive fish die-offs and other die-offs, but we have these giant sharks just coming to the shore. We do know the water is hotter, but why is it hotter? Completely unrelated, but talking about frequency, we had 100 1,000 strikes of lightning in South Carolina in the last week. I was outside yesterday and it sounded insane. I mean, take a look at the Indonesia volcano and all the electricity. Yeah, some's normal, but this right here is unheard of. And this thunder I was hearing, I would feel it, it was crashing the earth. Then we have stuff like this popping on the Schumann frequency, and this looks exactly like guess who? But that's not the only part about the Schumann frequency. 2 days in a row now, the Schumann frequency has completely been blacking out. And the thing is, we know it's not just because the earthquake's taken out the channel, because it's recorded in multiple places in the earth. And because if you're like me, you feel it when it's doing something weird. Today I overslept all my alarm clocks, which happens every time there's something up with this right here. Yeah, it picks up the resonance of the earth, but you would think that it'd pick up other resonance and frequencies as well. Of course, unrelated. Something massive is going on, not just physically, but spiritually as well. And we also see this in manifestation of disasters on the earth. The August fire outlook map. While we have mega fires and other fires all over the earth, and also very strange startings of fire we'll go over later. Absolutely insane. Archaeologists are now saying that we have proof that Moses from the Bible did live, and they lived in Egypt. But it's a whole lot deeper than that, just hold on. He quite literally initialed his name and said, this is from Moses. But it's 2025. Did we really need proof? Because right by the fire on the mount, they had the drawing of the golden calf. Remember they started worshiping it when Moses was on the mountain talking to God? The split rock itself can literally be seen by satellite. But even further, archaeologists and scientists have found it has erosion right under it, like a whole bunch of water came from it. Just like the Bible said. Ron Wyatt literally found chariot wheels from the same dynasty that chased the Hebrews across the Red Sea, as well as horse skeletons and human skeletons. Same dynasty and all. The living blood that Ron Wyatt had tested by actual people, and we have the Shroud of Turin, which they say was a medieval forgery only because one corner was tampered with in the medieval ages. An AI rendering from this makes him look like this. And would you even believe me if that's not exactly how he's pictured in the letter from Pilate to Tiberius in the 1st century? Pilate himself even corroborated the Gospels in the New Testament before they were even written. Not to mention, Pilate's description of Jesus was exactly what all first-hand testimony said, as well as the Council of Judah from the same time. The mountain itself, the fire on the mount, is still burnt. You can see it again from the Satelloons. I mean, the world still worships the golden calf right in front of us from the Old Testament. Sulfur balls were found all over where Sodom and Gomorrah must have been, which means they were raining from the sky. Truly, I could go on and on. Point is, as great as it is to have Moses' actual signature in the mines, we actually did not need it because we have everything the Bible's ever said right in front of us. I guess the question is, do we believe the most corroborated book in history? Or do we turn to the idols of this world?